Hello, and welcome to another Deck Tech with the Runaways. I'm Shane. Today, wanted to go over what I'm calling the Azalea Greatbow Aim deck. If you watched some of the latest interview as of recording this with James White and the French folks, um, he was talking about how you should get the Sandscour Greatbow because aim counters are going to be a thing in the future, especially with outriders, and then even now today, you can see how powerful this is. Go over the deck, and then I'll give you kind of some themes and thoughts and like stuff I pull in from the sideboard for different matchups. So, first, big change to the deck is the New Horizon. New Horizon has been specifically a Lexi only, really, once it was shown. That's because with Death Dealer, you can't have a second arsenal. So you can't like Death Dealer while you have something in arsenal, which is a huge, huge downplay. I would say like if they would just change Death Dealer to allow that, like Azalea with Death Dealer and Horizon would be insane. But we got to work with what we got. So New Horizons is ahead. Pretty standard here. Loadout, bullseye bracers, nothing better right now. Tunic just helps you on those turns of all red hands because we do run a lot of reds. As you can see here, we run 50 reds, 12 blues, 12 yellows. So on the turns you need that extra little mana. That Spring Tunic's good. I really haven't looked at other options. Might be something to explore. I'm hoping maybe Ranger gets a body piece later, but yeah, nothing really better here. Perch grapplers, pretty standard. Lets you go again if you need to, but mostly it's just a 2 block on the legs. We also do have Snapdragons down here at the bottom. We'll cover that in a little bit. Let's get into the deck. Really, it's pretty standard, Rainbow Bolt and Shot. I mean, this is probably one of the best Ranger cards ever printed with the reload effect plus go again, just by giving it a pump, and it's free. Can't really do much better than that. So we play those. One of the new cards here, Deadeye, we play that. Getting the aim counter makes this card just insane. You do sometimes have extra mana, like so. Costing one's not like the worst thing in the world, especially since most turns, if you are gonna play this and play an expensive arrow, can be run off 2 mana. So one of your yellows could facilitate this turn if you had to. Blocks 3 +3, aim counter. Get to look at a card and discard the card you don't want them to have. So with Azalea being able to dominate, this is pretty powerful. Drill Shot's a new one also. Drill Shot's so good. Once you have a counter on it, they really just can't block with their armor, and then it also hurts their armor. So it's like block with your hand, or block with the armor, that doesn't matter, because you're just getting it. It's also 0 for 4, which is pretty good standard on rate. And the blues I think are just really, really good. Like blues make it to where it's like, oh man, I don't want to block this. I guess I just take this, but then I get lose armor. I don't know. So really solid blue. Heatseeker is kind of insane with New Horizon. This allows you to put a card face up into your um, arsenal, which is hard to do in general, but it also lets you like put face up and then arsenal. This is also at the beginning of your end phase. This is before you arsenal, so you can get an arrow into it, then arsenal, to allow you to have a 6 card hand extra. Imaging, CNC effect on an arrow with aim counter, pretty good. Mobilizing shot, I've gone back and forth on this one. Mobilizing shot, pretty good here. One action, one non-attack action. The problem I have here is like these are just really good against like the aggro decks that are going to do multiple things. It doesn't really do much versus like Bravo, Oldhim, um, Dromai even, because Dromai just wants to play the one card then track with all the like dragons. So this is one that gets cut frequently. I will say that for some of our sideboard cards, depending on the matchup. Long shot, 0 for 3 with an aim counter blue. Sometimes you just get it and it works, so that's why it's there. Knock the death whistle, always, pretty standard. Point to tip is a little dangerous. I've been finding, maybe you'll see it in some of my gameplay, but you can't put this into your arsenal if it's the only arsenal you have. So if you've blocked with New Horizon and you try the Azalea off the top and you hit a point to tip, you are just done until that next turn because this is one of those that must have a target of an arrow that is face up in your arsenal before you can put an aim counter on it. So a lot of things with that. It's interesting. So this has been one that I've been trying to make work. It works just fine. It's just like it has an upside, but it also has a huge downside. So maybe it gets cut in the future. Rain Razors, pretty standard. Read the glide path, pretty standard, just helps you get those dominate arrows, and then Red and Ledger just really really good against like everyone. Makes it just do one thing, end your turn. Um, so still in there, and then we have our pumps: release attention, seek and destroy, take aim. Take aim is really a flex one too. It's just really good. You can like take out point the tips and keep flex it. Take aim, or you can like if you need to have more like pumps, then you can keep it in. Take cover really good. Take cover, like one thing I found about like other defense reactions, you just don't get something in your arsenal, and you're trying to do that every turn. Um, and so this puts it back in the arsenal, which is great when you only have one card in there. Otherwise, it's just good 0 for 4. And then we have sideboard. Battering bolt is for like some wizard matchup. Fatigue shot for any of your big hitters: Rhinar, Bravo, Oldhim. Um, Pretty much remorseless for the aggros. This is like something you can swap out for like one of the buffs, or in theory you could do it for like uh, Heat Seeker, because like your game's not going so long, so you're not gonna have like a lot of setup turns. Second shot here is also something you might want to bring in. I've been finding I might need more go again arrows, because you're like I'll talk about like the concept of it in a second, but you're finding yourself with like extra cards because you didn't know what you're gonna get off the top. So I'm still working through all of the like sequencing, but I found that I want some go again sometimes. Sleep darts for those pesky heroes like Icelander also. I would say this like with as many blues we're running, we don't really have a great matchup in Icelander, but it helps turn off for a turn. Um, Same thing for other heroes like Dory, who also can be sometimes a little bit tricky. All right, so here's the concept. The concept is that you're trying to get the first turn, just get something in Arsenal. The goal is to get something in Arsenal, because you can see here we don't really have something that we can't usually play. Take cover is like the only thing that like if we pulled it off the top, we can't play it that turn. And point to tip, you may say I talked about that, but if you're flipping it off the top with Azalea, just literally the goal is to set something down and then start the concept of blind Azalea to get some sort of value, like get some information, get value from Azalea. She hits an arrow that you like, perfect. Then we plan our turn around that. She doesn't hit an arrow we don't like, maybe we get a better card. It's I'm trying to think of it as like this possibility of like a smaller crown of seeds, where it's like, hey, I'm gonna throw this card that I didn't really want that turn away and get something else, and that something else will be valuable, hopefully. Otherwise, I'll keep it around to the next turn. It's not a big deal. Then flipping off the top of your deck gives you an aim counter with Azalea, because Sandscour doesn't say just whenever you put an arrow. So any arrow I put in it from Azalea's effect or from the bow's effect gets an aim counter. So I get the aim counters going. Azalea then gets to dominate again. So then you can like good arrows get dominate, and you can just start playing around that. Let's say it's a pump, you just get to play the pump, and even if the pump is point to tip, it's face up, so that then turns on our Greatbow. So since or because New Horizon says the cards have to be face up, you get an additional arsenal. So then we can blind Azalea, get an additional arsenal, Sandscour Greatbow. So this means like we've now seen 2 cards from our top of our deck. And that's kind of the power here, is like we could see multiple cards from the top of our deck. We could really, really kind of try to sculpt our turn if we need to with the read the glide path, right? So blind is that maybe we have 2 of these. Maybe we play the first one, see that we don't want that, throw it to the bottom, blind Azalea again, and then say, oh, we didn't hit an arrow. Okay, well, we'll go ahead and read. Oh, there's an arrow. Okay, now we'll Greatbow and play our turn. Play the pump maybe that we got or something like that. Um, all of that really works well for like the cycling through your deck. Now I'll say reason why I say that is because sometimes you'll hit an arrow on Azalea, which is great, and then you'll hit an arrow on the Greatbow. This has essentially gotten you 2 cards into your arsenal from your hand. You still have a 4-card hand, maybe a 3-card hand because you had to pay for the Greatbow, but it gives you like a 5-card hand, and you're like, oh man, I have 2 really good arrows. What do I do with it? Well, unless one of them is bolt and shot, you're just gonna fire one of them, which is not a big deal. But like maybe you had another arrow in hand, and you're like, ah, oh, now I can't do some things. Um, so the goals here is I was thinking maybe sometimes I need a little bit more go again, which is that I talked about earlier, is the Sikkim shots here. So if you're getting to the point where you feel like that's the case, throw it in for like a mobilizing shot. That's like maybe my first one to go. Maybe depending on the matchup. Like if they're playing, everyone's playing Crown of Providence now, so Hemorrhage Bore is not as powerful, but you could put it in for that as well. So I've been seeing myself wanting a little bit more go again because the bolt and shots also require pump. So it's like, okay, I flip it off, get a bolt and shot, great. Uh, Play the bolt and shot, get the reload. That's where I would want like maybe a Sikkim shot, or if like say again, let's say I let's start through a whole turn. Okay, so I Azalea off the top and get a bolt and shot. Perfect. I have no other card in arsenal. This is amazing. Okay, so now I'm going to do is play the bolt and shot. Or sorry, I'm going to Greatbow and then get another arrow, bolt and shot, and then I get to shoot the next arrow and put it in arsenal. So I get to do that. Or I start with like a Sikkim shot in arsenal. I play the Greatbow, but because I like maybe I put it down, or maybe I get the Sikkim shot off the Azalea. Then I can put down a bolt and shot. So then I can play Sikkim shot, Rain Razors, then bolt and shot for free, reload and shoot whatever's left. Like maybe it's immobilizing or something like that. And the aim counters didn't come to play there, but like it's just there's a lot of ways to really get value out of like having multiple cards and multiple arrows. And so I'm still working through that, but so far it's been really fun. It's a great concept. The aim counters are great. Um, it's really kind of a different style to play Azalea because you're not trying to like dominate. You're really trying to get the value out of these on hit effects, and make sure that you know your your arrows hit and they do something really important to knock down the game plan of the other person. So I'll show you some of the gameplay. We'll start with another video, but let's go through the sideboard. As I mentioned, if I'm playing Wizards, I'm going to bring this in just because it's for any non-action cards. Um, Here is really for Rhinar and them, so I would swatch again. I'd swap that out for like immobilizing shot, or hemorrhaging bore, which is another one. Remorseless again comes in for like your Fies. Sigum shot comes in if you need a little more aggro, or if you're finding that like you are getting a lot of like non-go again. I'm still playing around with this one. This is kind of like a flex card. This could come in and out, like depending if I get this stuff right. And then Sleep Dart again, as I said, for Fi, Dory, Wizard, all that good stuff. And then we have our Snapdragons. Again, this is kind of that concept of go again plus Snapdragons, trying to figure it out. But it's been a lot of fun. I plan to show you a little bit of gameplay to kind of get that concept of Blind Azalea into Sandscour into arrows, and then do it again and again and again. And I hope you guys will see the power of the Sandscour Greatbow Azalea. And then I'm looking forward to any bonus things that they get in Outlanders.